What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Joe Cronin Show, at Joe Cronin Show on Twitter. YouTube.com/Joe Cronin Show. Daniel Bryan, The Undertaker, Goldberg, Vince McMahon's crotch section. There's all kinds of things to talk about. Guys, I want to say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking and disliking and sending me pictures of yourself in the mail. I definitely enjoy it. I definitely love it. And listen, I want to remind everybody, if you like the commercials at the beginning of these videos, watch the whole 30 seconds because then I get paid. Wink, 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 wink. Especially if you like the products. And if you love the products, click on them. Hey, what the hell, you know? But anyway, I'm joined by Chris Tosevich, and we're getting ready for another episode of State of the WWE. I think this is episode 7. I hope it is. Let's cut the music there. Goodbye music. All right, so State of the WWE. We're going to talk about the WWE. We're going to answer some questions that you guys had, and I'm going to have an orgasm live on the air. No, I'm just kidding about that part. What's up, Chris?
Again?
Yeah, and this time you won't have to pay for it.
All right.
Nobody will have to pay. Can we start off talking about Dolph Ziggler? What's going to happen? Is he going to, I had a revelation after listening to our Monday Night Raw review and everything we talked about, that maybe even though Dolph Ziggler may have done something to piss off Mr. Randy Orton, that it's possible that they were actually going to bring in Rey Mysterio to fill that spot anyway, because Ricardo was supposed to be with Rey Mysterio, and if that's the case, then Rey Mysterio would have been going up against Alberto Del Rio, which makes sense, and Dolph Ziggler really just didn't have a chance anyway.
Right, but what's even weirder is now it's RVD, which makes even less sense.
Well, yeah, it does, and that's where I feel like the Dolph Ziggler doghouse stuff is coming to play.
Another thing is, I mean, imagine if they threw Ricardo with Dolph Ziggler. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I did not think about that.
Because RVD isn't really a microphone man. I mean, he can say some funny things here and there, and he's a good laid-back stoner type of character, but he's never been one to be on the mic. And neither is Dolph, granted, but I think Dolph is a little better and a little funnier and could probably play back and forth with Ricardo better than RVD ever could. I still think they should have just given it to Ziggler and just should have run with it. Do you know what he did to Randy Orton? Did he fucking piss in his shoes or something? How serious was it?
No, but it's the report. The only things that have come out are just based on people that are in the back area, in the backstage area. It's probably one of those things where somebody saw or heard something, a fight, or Dolph Ziggler was a dick, and then Randy Orton was like, what'd you say, or those. Who knows? But it's probably like a loose-ended thing that someone assumes that's the reason why Dolph Ziggler's in hot water. And it's usually based on when you see these spark-ups in the back in the locker room and stuff, and then you see a pattern that when that happens, the next time that happens, look at Mr. Kennedy, or look at multiple other people who have done something wrong when it comes to Randy Orton. Something happens in the back, there's a meeting, or there's people being yelled at, and then the next thing you know, they're pushed aside or whatever. I mean, I don't know why they would do that to Dolph Ziggler. I mean, unless they were going to have Dolph Ziggler have a push and they're hiding him for now. I don't know. I mean,
what pisses me off the most about it is that Randy Orton, for example, has 2 out of his 3 strikes. So if he fucks up one more time, fails a wellness policy test or any number of things, then theoretically he should be gone by the company's own policy. So what are they going to do? Now that he's the champion, they're probably not going to test him for a while, and they're probably just going to ignore a lot of things that happen that normal people would get suspended for. Then and he has the world championship right now. Then on the other end of things, you have Dolph Ziggler, who's never been suspended, never done anything wrong. The only time he's ever taken time off is due to injury or because the creative didn't have anything for him, and he pisses off someone who has 2 strikes, and he's the one who gets punished.
Yeah, you're right. It's weird. It's because WWE just loves Randy Orton so much. I mean,
of course, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, God, Triple H, just absolutely adores him.
He's selling merchandise and the fans love him. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying it's unfair.
Yeah, it's not even about. It's literally the over respect and admiration. Maybe, I mean, Randy Orton talked about in an interview with Sam Robinson that he, he's over that. He's not like that anymore. He's not a douchebag, But I just don't buy it. I mean, I'm sure he's more laid back and he's a dad now and all these things. but he still comes off as, you know, my dad was a wrestler here, and, you know, he's been doing it his whole life. He reminds me of a person that I worked at a business with, and the guy's son was working the counter when he didn't really belong there, and the guy's son was a douchebag. Like, he was a real shithead, and he treated old guys who worked there, you know, for 20 years, but before the kid was born, he treated them like piss. And he talked horrible to all these people and everything. And he just and he looked like Randy Orton, which is funny because when I worked there, Randy Orton just started a little bit, and I used to think he looked like Randy Orton, and he used to drive me nuts because I hated the both of them.
Before Randy Orton turned orange.
Right. Well, yeah, he was. Yeah, it was around that time. It was 2003 and 2004 even. So, but so anyway, so that's true. That's what he's like. You know, I don't know what's really going on. And for all you know, maybe Dolph Ziggler's a little bit, you know, arrogant. You know, he's been known to be a little bit like that too. So you get those personalities together, and maybe they said, well, you know, we can't hurt Randy Orton, you know, harm Randy Orton. So if he's the one complaining, let's slap Dolph Ziggler on the wrist, knock him back to reality a little bit.
But why not just keep them apart? Because they're not in the same scene. There was no chance we were going to see Dolph versus Randy Orton for any reason in the past couple of weeks anyway, because they're so both busy doing their own thing. Like, why? I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense why they couldn't just keep Dolph doing what he was doing and just keep him away from Randy Orton, you know?
I agree. But so it's stupid. Who knows how much of it's even real or whatever? Who knows what the real reasons are? But Undertaker, I had a lot of questions in my email. I think I answered this in another video. I'm going to do it again now. Undertaker, when is he coming back? When is he coming back? WrestleMania. That's when he's coming back. Every year people do this, like he's going to come back. Listen, if he was going to come back for an appearance besides WrestleMania, it probably would have been SummerSlam. So, and that didn't happen. So, I mean, I don't see him coming back for Royal Rumble. Doesn't make sense. Nothing else makes sense. All that makes sense is WrestleMania. We'll see The Undertaker 3 weeks before WrestleMania. How does that sound? Maybe 4 weeks before. Goldberg now is expressing real interest in being in the WWE. There's all the rumors that he met with the WWE already before, but then before he denied that. So it makes me wonder, I mean, why would he deny meeting with the WWE and then say he wants to be in the WWE again or could come back? So it makes me think that he was telling the truth when he said he really didn't meet with them. But either way, all signs point to Goldberg. I think we're going to see Goldberg, you know, show up for a match.
Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar too?
Right, Goldberg in the next 2 years. At some point in the next 2 years, maybe I would say more likely sooner, but within the next 2 years, I think you'll see Goldberg back for at least a match. And no, I think, like I said before, it would be awesome if Ryback continued this bullying crap, and out of nowhere, you know what I mean, Goldberg, and then he continued the bullying crap, and then you had a storyline where he was getting a letter, or he was getting a message from somebody. And the message was like, you know, you think you're a bully, you know what I mean? Let's see you try to bully me around. And then he reads it, and he's like, you know, what the fuck? And he just crimples it up and throws it away. And he just keeps getting these messages. And then he finally gets a message that says, I'll see you, I'll see you at WrestleMania or something. And he's like, who is this, you know? And then one of the GMs or somebody could say, you know, Ryback, this mystery man has challenged you to a match at WrestleMania. And all this stuff. And so he's done this whole bullying thing. He's been an ass, and he's been beating up all these people. And he comes out at WrestleMania, and now we're going to see him against this mystery opponent who's been contacting him and stuff like that. But only the WWE officials say they know who it is. And Ryback doesn't know. And bam, it's Goldberg.
Yeah.
Like I think the place would explode. And then it wouldn't be a long match. You know what I mean? Goldberg just come out and just...
Squash match.
Exactly. Just tools him.
Now, do you think he'd be coming back for a regular schedule, or do you think he'd be a part-timer?
I think he'd be a part-timer. If not a one-time appearance, it would be like a Brock Lesnar type of deal. All
right. Well, there's kind of like 3 levels of part-timer. There's Rock level, there's Brock level, and then there's Jericho level.
Right, Jericho level. I could see Jericho level, to be honest. I could actually. I think he's definitely more likely. Obviously, out of anybody, obviously Brock and Undertaker and anybody else, yeah, he's the one that could do more of a schedule, I think. Than I could see him doing a solid like 3 months and then leaving and then coming back. I don't know.
Here's how I would book Goldberg if he came back. I'd do what you did, have him squash Ryback, but then starting with Ryback, have him build another winning streak, and just literally like have him talk about like, dude, if there's anyone who can do it, it's me when it comes to winning streaks,
Right.
and build it up and build it up and build it up, and then give him like a major title match. And I don't know, have him win, have him lose, doesn't really matter, but that match would sell tickets
Right,
if you
that's
give Goldberg another winning streak. He's the only person who can do it without people saying, oh, it's just Goldberg all over again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course it would be, because it's Goldberg, so he can
Yeah.
do it legitimately, you know?
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I mean, it would kill Ryback, but I mean,
Who cares?
I mean, right. I mean, Ryback would be buried, and
Maybe he can come back dancing with the Funkasaurus.
Yeah, that's what they would do. You know what I'd actually like to see is after Goldberg beats. Here's an idea at WrestleMania. After Goldberg squashes Ryback, out of nowhere, the Wyatts come out and they just pick up Ryback and they drag him in the back, and they make
And
him.
he comes back out as a woman the next day.
No, yeah, right. No, but then they hypnotize him, and he's like a psycho, for like a little while.
Or they hypnotize him and he's their slave and like he's under mind control.
Or just, I guess the only other way to go with that is Ryback just disappears for a couple months, because can you really have Ryback and Goldberg on the same show in the same place at the same time
without ruining Ryback?
I mean, really ruining him, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you think the Goldberg chants were bad when he first started? What about fucking now?
Right.
That'd
so
be crazy.
If WWE holds any interest in Ryback's future and holds any kind of candle with him, and at one point they really were high on him, and I think they've come back down, but they still see him as something important in a way. I don't know. I don't know if they'd really do that. They may have Goldberg at WrestleMania, but stay away from Ryback. But then Ryback's going to hear the Goldberg shit even louder. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, here's the solution. If Goldberg comes back part-time or just comes back for WrestleMania, no problem. You can have Ryback lose, go away for a month, and come back, and he'll hear the Goldberg chants even louder, but it may become a thing, I don't know. Either way, it bodes bad for Ryback, basically.
Right.
Oh, man. Guys, I want to thank you for watching all these videos and for liking and disliking and commenting and sending me your pictures, Subscribe, youtube.com/Joe Cronin Show. Call the show, leave me voicemail at 339-226-6610. Me and Tosevich will answer the voicemails and the questions and all that stuff for you. And in just about 1 second, I'm going to read an excerpt from the legend Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, regarding his son actually leaving the WWE and what may have led to that and what's next for Ted DiBiase. Guys, we'll be back in a second after this commercial break. Watch the entire commercial because it's awesome. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here. Joe Cronin Show. I'm here with Chris Tosevich. So, $1 Million Man recently talked about why his son is leaving the WWE. He said, as many of you know, my son, Ted Jr., has decided not to re-sign with the WWE. His decision is not based on dissatisfaction with the WWE. What? But a decision based on not wanting to spend so much of his life away from his family. I applaud that decision. As much as I love wrestling business, being away from my family and the temptation that come along with it nearly destroyed me and my family. Never wanted my sons to be in the business for that reason, and had to let them find out for themselves. The birth of Ted's first son did just that. So, I mean, this $1 Million Man, saying that this isn't related to how the WWE is completely just not giving a crap about Ted DiBiase for the most part, other than making him look like his dad for most of the time, and it's confusing. How come they...
You know what, though? This is smart. Not just smart, but actually kind of cool, because I do believe him, and he did just have a kid, so
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. But, I mean, it's also smart, because even if it's not true, he's not pulling a Zack Ryder, where if Zack Ryder gets let go or doesn't re-sign, he's never going back to the WWE. First of all, he doesn't have a father who was a legend in the WWE like Ted DiBiase does. But second of all, if you bitch and moan your way out of the company, they're not going to give a shit if you want to come back. If Ted DiBiase changes his mind when his kid's like a couple years old and like, a few years from now, he's a young kid. So a few years from now, if he wants to come back in, this is the perfect way to do it. First of all, he has his dad, the legend, making news saying, hey, my son has no problems with the WWE. They're a great company. It's just, it's tough being on the road all the time.
Right.
So if that's the only reason, he's got a wide open door to come back once he realizes he has no other vocations, and it was pretty sweet money.
Yeah, you're right. That's cool. And you're right. The door is always open. And it will be, although it's, there's many things you could say about Ted DiBiase's run, and I blame the
That's
WWE. I really do blame them more than him. I mean, I think he's a bland, plain, good-looking, kind of individual, and he just didn't have the flair his dad had. And but even if he didn't have the flair, I thought they could have packaged him in some sort of way, and they never did. And you know what? Him leaving makes sense. You talked about him not having the passion for it, and him not leaving shows that there was always a hint of that. There was always maybe a feeling of I've got nothing else, and my dad did this and that type of stuff. And I don't know, but I'm amazed that he looked as good as he did and wrestled and everything, and he's gone already. I mean, I am kind of amazed a little bit, but his lack of passion was evident since the beginning. So
right. I think they really should have just brought back Virgil and put Virgil with him, and I think it would have been great.
Well, him with Cody Rhodes was great. I can remember though when they split him up, I was like, I'm more interested in Cody Rhodes by far.
Right.
I like Cody Rhodes' wrestling. He's just weird looking, but I don't know, whatever. He's got a dynamic he's got a lisp and a dynamic that Ted didn't have. Ted was real boring, and that's what it comes down to. He was boring. That's all. Good-looking guy, boring.
Hey, quick question. Which lisp do you like better, Jack Swagger's lisp or Cody Rhodes' lisp?
I think Jack Swagger's, it makes me laugh more.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
Like, I mean, Cody, is weird. He's like roguey type of guy. Like, I don't know how to explain it, even though, he's kind of funny, too. Jack Swagger's is just over the top. I can never, ever take that guy seriously. I mean, he looks like the guy, if there was a bad movie to be made about Frankenstein, he looks like he would be Frankenstein. He's always got.
And he
that
sounds
face.
like fucking Sylvester from Looney Tunes.
He definitely is a character, which works in the WWE. I mean, he looks like an imbecile. He looks like what was it, Chris Nowinski? He's like the goofy WWE version of Nowinski. That's why Nowinski didn't work, because he looked too much like a real college wrestler.
When they first put Swagger with Zeb Coulter, a buddy of mine was laughing when he first heard "We the People," and I was like, "What? What's so funny about the phrase?" And he was like, "It's just really funny that they obviously chose an American phrase without an S in it."
Oh man, what else is there? Wrestling? I don't know what else there. Daniel Bryan. I want to say that although we picked him apart and said it was stupid and lame that he spray painted the Escalade, I think I can side with the writers in the way that when they sat down and wrote this, I imagine them saying, well, we want to do something where like Stone Cold Steve Austin type of stuff, where he, he's going to destroy Randy's property so we can have this scene. So we need to have Daniel Bryan get back at Randy Orton somehow without going into the ring, and because he can't do that because Triple H is there and everything's there. There's no way he would get to him.
Right.
But what can we do to give him a win so people get some kind of satisfaction? All right, well, we'll do this thing with the car. And they said, well, what would Stone Cold do? Oh, well, Stone Cold would drive a fucking monster truck over the thing. Oh, what would Randy Orton have done? Oh, he would have stolen it like he did. What would Daniel Bryan do? Like you said, fill it with vegetables. That's one thing he might do. Another thing you might do is, I guess, spray paint it. I mean, I guess that is what he would do. So there is no, there's no other. The writers are just trying to do what made sense. It's not too out of character for Daniel Bryan to spray paint someone's car.
Now that you mention it, though, if they're going for realism, I think it would have been even funnier if they just showed him putting on Randy Orton's windshield wiper and turning his radio all the way up and fucking doing little things in the car, putting his turn signal on, so that when he started the car, just a bunch of minor inconveniences would have happened.
I would have liked to see I would have liked to see him pee on the car or something. I would have taken what was that, Degeneration X, and they pissed on the Skull and 8 Balls bicycles.
Or if he just put shit under the door handles.
See, they wouldn't because of the PG thing. I think they can't do that. But
Right.
I mean,
But that's
I
why I
don't
think it would be funny if he, like, literally, like, they show him, like, just doing these minor things. Then you see Randy Orton, like, whistling on his way to his car, and he starts it, and the windshield wipers go on, and, like, the lights start blinking, and the radio's all the way up, and he's just like, god damn it. That's it.
Right, that's it. You're right, and that would be a Daniel Bryan-y type of thing to do. See, I think that even like this PG stuff, I think people are actually embracing that's the PG Daniel Bryan, whereas they do not embrace the PG John Cena, or at least a good amount of the audience doesn't. Because I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I'm not a we've seen it so many times before, you know, but I would have liked to see him pee on the car or something, you know, that'd been funny. Or you like to, I don't know I think it's all out of character for Daniel Bryan. I think that's the problem. They wanted him to do this strange thing with the car in the back, but honestly, it was really just all out of character.
Right.
Because even when Daniel Bryan was spray painting, he had this smirk on his face, and it was like he had a smirk on his face like somebody told him to do this, you know. So that kind of took me out of the whole thing. It's something I didn't mention on the Raw review, but he had a smirk on his face that was like, you know, I've been instructed to do this. You know, like I wouldn't do this. That's why I'm smirking. I don't know. AJ Lee's pipe bomb. What's going to happen with her on Monday night? I'm interested in that. It was really a great promo. I don't think I talked about it enough when we did the Monday night review. I think I was, you know, busy trying to figure everything out because of the YouTube problems we had. It really fucked up the show, to be honest. I had my mind all clear, and I was lost because of it. But that really was, and that super German suplex of Daniel Bryan. I mean, the highlights of the night are AJ Lee, Curtis Axel, CM Punk, and then that match, Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan.
Seth Rollins really brought it to the limit with that backflip he did for the Super German. That was a top-notch sell.
Right.
And Daniel Bryan executing it as well. I mean, and him being short enough to where Rollins could have flipped over him. Everything just matched up perfectly for that one spot.
Yeah, I watched that like 8 times the other day. Like I was like,
the stars aligned for that spot.
I think those are the reasons why I didn't convey it enough. I mean, everybody gave Raw a shit review, and people were pissed about Raw this week. I got to say, all across the internet, all the other shows, my show, everyone, everybody was angry about Raw. They were like, it was piss, it was a repeat and a rerun. I really, to me, I saw 2 different Monday Night Raws on Monday. There were 2 different Monday Night Raws. There was one Monday Night Raw that was a complete repeat of what happened the week before, especially the Daniel Bryan stuff, except at the beginning.
Yep.
And so it was all this stuff that was repeating and terrible and tiresome, and it was absolute zero, almost 0 or 1, but 0 because they're being cheap and reusing things. But then I saw another Monday Night Raw that had AJ Lee with the best promo ever, almost from a diva, going back many years probably.
Actually, I would say that's the best. Can you think of a better one?
You're right. I mean, maybe it's just the best. I mean, maybe something with another diva and another guy, but never a solo diva. You're right. That's the most attention one girl. And it's funny because everything's been so piss poor lately from divas and women and stuff. But then she cuts one of the best promos ever. It's like, what the hell? If the Bellas would have just shut their fucking mouths next to the microphone near the ring, we would have heard the whole promo clearly.
I hated the Bellas yelling during that. That it almost ruined it. And I don't think it's the Bellas' fault because
it's the technical
director. You always see people doing that. No, you always see people from the ring, like Mark Henry, like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Like while someone's yelling at him from the ramp.
It's the director's fault. You know? It's the technical director or the director's fault. One of the two.
Right. They shouldn't have mic'd the fucking Bellas. And you know what? The reason they did was probably because of Total Divas. So they were probably expecting the Bellas to know that they were being mic'd. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I think it was just coincidence that the cameraman was right outside the ring on the side where he always is, and the Bellas came out of the ring and they're on the side of the ring, and they were screaming and the mic is right there. So I don't know.
But they shut those mics off and turn them on back and forth all the time.
Right. So it's I blame the director or the technical director. Someone just said cut the mic, or lower it, lower the mic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because regardless of whether or not the Bellas knew they might be mic'd, the point is like it's up to them to find out how annoying it's being. But then again, the silver lining is they kind of proved AJ's point while she was delivering the promo.
Right.
That they really have nothing good to say and nothing good to do.
You're a bitch. I'm a bitch. You're a bitch. That's what I fucking. That's what I call it. So there was that horrible Raw, and then there was the AJ Lee pipe bomb all of a sudden. Then there was the Curtis Axel CM Punk stuff, which I thought was glorious. And then we had the Daniel Bryan Seth Rollins epic main event match.
But it was short.
It was short, and it wasn't supposed to be that crazy, but it had a great spot in it. Those two are good.
The thing is, if you take everything you mentioned, which is gold, absolute gold, it's about, what, 15 minutes out of 3 hours?
Right. So
that's the problem.
That's why I think I gave it a 7.5. I mean, looking back, it definitely doesn't. I guess it doesn't. I don't think it deserved a 7.5. But because of those few spots that were so done well, Maybe I'd like to rescinded my rating to a 7.0 or a 6.5, somewhere in there. But you really saw the tale of two Raws, and you really saw what happens when you have a 3-hour show that's too long. You see complete inconsistency. People can turn the channel, and this is why I believe that TNA must. And I know that TNA sucks balls right now in many ways, and this is the worst time you would think to do it. But I would just say, fuck it, and just go up against Raw. I would just say, screw it. 9 o'clock, we're going on. Because at 9 o'clock, WWE Raw has either been good or bad, one or the two. And around 9 o'clock, WWE gets sleepy, especially after the opening, whatever the opening thing is. The first 20 minutes of Raw, half hour of Raw, are going to dominate. But after that, it starts getting sleepy for an hour.
Right.
Every single time, without a doubt, for the most part. So,
sometimes they'll have something at the top of the hour or continuing from the first hour to keep people watching. Right. But the second that's over, then bam, you're right, the second hour sleepiness begins.
So if I was TNA, I mean, they can't afford really to do it, but the ratings keep dropping so much. I think their best bet, I mean, really, to be honest, is to be on Monday or Tuesday. But I would say Monday, because screw it. Just go up against them. You'll get people flipping over.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, go Tuesday, because people are thinking about wrestling, and now, tomorrow there's no wrestling on. Oh, wait, tomorrow there is wrestling on. TNA Impact's on tomorrow. Tuesday, I feel like you'll get a better audience, but I don't think Spike TV doesn't have the room for it on a Tuesday. But
the thing is, if they were going to go up against Raw, which, like you said, is a crazy move, but a move bold enough to where it just might work.
I mean, they tried it already, but
they would need, at this point, especially because it's a time slot switch, which is even harder to retain ratings, they would need something fucking huge. Something that, even me and you would be like, all right, well, I know we have a Raw podcast to do tonight, but we got to flip over to TNA for this, just for this thing.
Right.
You know?
It would be they did bring Hogan in, and that's when they went to Monday.
Right, but what can they do now? What would they do right now that would make me and you say, hey, I know that our job is to do a podcast Monday after Raw, but we're willing to miss 15 minutes of it right now.
They would sign Goldberg.
Yeah,
that's
a good one.
They would throw out Hulk Hogan's $2 million, and they would sign Goldberg. That's
a good one.
That's my answer for that. Goldberg, Batista, one of the two. I would say Goldberg, because even though Batista would I think, I guess the both of them, but I would go Batista, and Batista's not. I would go Goldberg rather, and Batista's not heavy on WWE. He left, and one of his biggest reasons, he cut promos on it. He was like, this isn't the same place that I started here. It was a lot of fun, and all of a sudden it's become this PG crap. And I don't like the stories. I think this is stupid, and that's why. But that's one of the reasons Batista left. He actually. So what better FU than to go to TNA? And I'm surprised, to be honest, that TNA hasn't made a move or really begged or pushed or done something to hire somebody who's an ex-WWE talent who would generate buzz now. Because they've had Kurt Angle for a long, long time. That's worn its welcome long ago. And to have Goldberg show up on TNA and, like you said earlier, do a winning streak all over again.
Yeah, that would work great in TNA, because they actually have the roster for him to run through without it looking stupid.
Right, and he's gonna say, and he's like, "Who's gonna stop me? I thought this was the best, blah blah blah, wrestling company. Nobody can touch me in this company," or that type of thing.
And then Hogan beats him at their biggest pay-per-view.
You know what? The Kevin Nash comes out, and then like it almost happens again, but it doesn't.
Yeah, but this time he catches the stun gun, and no, this time Scott Hall out of nowhere comes out of the audience, fucking all healthy from DDP yoga, and saves Goldberg this time.
DDP yoga, that's awesome with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, with Jake the Snake Roberts fucking stumbling behind him.
See that? Oh man. But so that's. I mean, I'm trying to think of someone else, you know, in WWE. But I think the thing is Goldberg. You know, bring Goldberg. Yeah. How about this? Bring Goldberg and Batista in, and they can wrestle each other. But you bring Goldberg.
Oh man, if TNA did that, I would have to switch over.
I'm not even a Batista fan. But
me neither.
Right. But just his name is exciting. So
just watching the crowd reaction, I know everyone else loves him so much, just to watch the place explode.
So here's your game plan, TNA. You get rid of Hulk Hogan. You get rid of a couple other people who are.
Get rid of Sting while you're at it.
Get rid of Sting, and then you get yourself, $3 to $5 million of cap space now, and you go get Goldberg. You build him. You use $2 million, and you build $3 million even if you have to, and you build up Goldberg, and he's just running through everybody. And you keep him away from AJ Styles. We don't know what's going to happen with AJ Styles yet, but so whatever. But you build him up. Nobody can stop him. And Slammiversary's coming up. And who's going to challenge Goldberg? And all of a sudden, Batista now comes out.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
Are you kidding me? If this was on Monday nights, I mean, you would get people flipping. You would get people
I don't care
watching.
if the energy drink company has to go out of fucking business. This is worth the money, and they'll get their money back.
Right. The $5 million, $6 million you spend, if those guys are willing to do it for that little amount of money, little amount to them, a lot amount to TNA, you will make $10 million. I mean, at least, if not.
Plus, the way you're
50.
booking it, you'd only have to pay Goldberg a huge amount to have his run as an undefeated person, and you'd only have to pay Batista for one fucking match.
Right, exactly.
So it'd even be cheaper.
You give Batista $1 million for one match. You give Goldberg $4 million for a run, and there you go.
Even that's generous. I'm pretty sure that Goldberg would do it
generous.
for $2 million, and Batista would do it for fucking $900,000.
Right, and you know what? You tell the two of them. You bring this to the table to both of them. And are you kidding me? I think Batista would say yes, and I think Goldberg would probably say yes. I think
just because they would both know, like, oh, why are you bringing me back as just like a ploy? No, you versus Goldberg. Oh shit, okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, all right, people are gonna watch that. I'm not just gonna assign my soul to TNA so they can waste me.
Right, we're gonna build you up for a year. This is like a year in the making type of thing.
Yeah, this could be a fucking Rock Cena thing for TNA.
You're right, and that oh my god, like why don't I wish I could be there. I wish I could work in TNA right now to tell people. I don't know if anybody's thought of these ideas, but somebody should be working on this. If it's even, maybe it's not even in the realm. Maybe there's things I don't know about in financial situations that I'm not aware of.
Or bridges that have been burned that we don't know about.
Right, or things that have happened that we don't know about. But this is, if this could happen, I mean, that's my aim. Throw away the stupid aces and eights crap. And this attempt that TNA keeps making to have these gang wars, and bring back the NWO, just stop with that. Let it die for a while. It's like Star Trek, you know what I mean? They just by the time Enterprise was on TV, it was like people were done with it. They were just sick of it. They can't deal with it anymore. Let NWO just be dead for like 10 years.
You know what's funny about you mentioning the gang wars is right now WWE is like with the Shield and 3MB and all the three-man teams, and then you have the corporation type thing filling out again. Like it's almost a rehash of the gang wars. But the reason that no one's calling it that, and that people give a shit, and that people aren't just seeing it as like, oh, boring NWO bullshit. This obviously died. It won't work again. The reason that's not happening is because they let it evolve into something new. They're still using the same gang war, but it's not a gang anymore, and it's not a war. They let it naturally, organically evolve into something.
Yeah.
The next level, and TNA is just doing the same old style.
Yeah, it's not a bunch of bullies put on some jackets and they're gonna take over everything. And then a bunch
this vest versus that vest, and then all of a sudden you take off the vest and reveal that you were wearing the other vest all along. And come on, how many times can they do that?
I mean, they're all the main event mafia. They look like idiots in the ring right now. Samoa Joe with the suit on looks like a meathead. They all look like middle school kids who are like playing like pretend gangs or whatever, like we used to do.
Yeah, Aces and Eights looks just like the fucking Disciples of Apocalypse from the late 90s in the WWE.
The Disciples are more menacing, I think, because they didn't say a lot. They just came out, and I mean, sure, they became a joke after they got beat up a bunch, but
Yeah,
you know, at first they were more menacing. And I mean,
they're riding motorcycles out there and shit.
If I saw Aces and Eights like in a dark alley, I'd probably laugh. Like, I mean, I'd just be like, what, you know, you guys gonna jerk each other off, or like you gonna let me go by? But like, but I run into Los Periquas in Times Square, and I'm shitting my pants, man. Los Periquas were scary. Los Periquas.
And then if I ran into the oddities in a dark alley, I don't know what I would do.
Oh, I hated that, by the way. I'm not an oddities fan. I couldn't stand that. I know people love that, but I hated that. Because
wasn't Golga played by John Tenta? Earthquake?
I didn't know that. If that's true,
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
I had no idea. I thought he was dead.
He was
already.
the one with the mask and the Cartman doll.
It makes sense. Yeah, I thought he was dead already, though. I didn't know that.
I think he's dead now. But...
Yeah, he is. I just thought he was dead then. Wow. I was mad because I wanted Luna Vachon to be wrestling in more women's matches, and they were using her as like an oddity.
An oddity.
Yeah, because she looked crazy and she talked like this.
Oh, her voice. She sounds like a cigarette smoking a cigar.
But she was like the female Scott Farrell. Scott Farrell, CBS Radio. My friend Luna Vachon. Hey, Scott, how's it going?
You know, I've seen so many interviews with her, and like either she's really good at staying in character, or sadly, that's what she really sounds like.
No, well, yeah, I've seen her in an interview with like who's she going out with? Like Gangrel. She's like married to him or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They seem like they're right out of the trailer park, but they seem like lovely, actually nice people. Gangrel seems kind of nice. I don't know. They're a little goofy,
fucking
but
Gangrel.
Right. Beep, beep, beep. All right. I don't know anything else. I can't think of anything else that really I wanted to get to that we didn't talk about. I think we talked about a ton of stuff here.
What's your favorite fruit?
Oh, strawberries or blueberries, actually. Blueberries.
I'm gonna go with kiwi.
Oh, I do like kiwi though too, with some whipped cream too. But just plain kiwi's good. Triple H's DVD is coming out. That looks actually good. Finally, I think a Triple H DVD that's gonna tell a story that I care about. I don't know about you, but all these WWE releases and DVDs, I care less for the like, hi everybody and welcome to the story of Ric Flair. When Ric Flair went to like, and it's just a guy narrating. I hate that, but I love the ones where they're sitting down and they get the family members and everybody, and it's like, I went through, you know, I did too much cocaine, and that's when they told me we're gonna fire you. Like those documentaries, right. Those in-depth behind the scenes stuff. And then it has matches on it, but for the most part, it's the documentary.
Like Chris Jericho's,
Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak and Triumph. That was I think the one. There was two Shawn Michaels ones that came out, believe it or not, a year away from each other. One was more of a happy story, and the other one was like everything about him. It was awesome.
Yeah, that one was really good.
And then Bret Hart had
the greatest rivalries one was really good too.
That was good too. Then the Bret Hart DVD by itself, Heart and Soul, or whatever the hell they called it, that was a real good documentary. And then CM Punk's is really awesome, and Mankind's is really awesome. And
CM Punk's is really awesome, especially when he goes into how his backyard wrestling turned into an actual indie promotion until his brother took all the money and it went out of business.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, what the hell? I had no idea about any of that. And then Mankind's was good. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. So Triple H didn't get one of those yet, though. He got the old the storylines about what have happened throughout his career.
The year was 1995.
Yeah, and then for up next for Triple H was Stone Cold Steve Austin, who had a vendetta, and it's interesting, but not like the documentaries are. So I'm excited for this one because this one looks like you're gonna see a lot of behind the scenes stuff now and then. So Triple H DVD. I'm excited for it. That's all I got to say.
I mean, his career just spans so much interesting shit. And because he was on top of the world for so long and being pushed to the moon, his documentary is going to involve so many other top stars and real awesome stories between them, too.
Well, and The Undertaker's in it, too. The Undertaker's never in these DVDs, ever. And he's in this Triple H one, so that's really kind of cool, too. I don't even think The Undertaker's in Shawn Michaels anything. So, but I know that The Undertaker, as much as I'm sure he likes Shawn Michaels now, has always liked Triple H, and it's always, when you have a problem, a drug problem, and you're crazy for a while, some people just, they don't forget, and I think The Undertaker's, has forgiven, but he doesn't forget, where he says, okay, yeah, Sean's Sean and all that type of stuff. But I think with Triple H, he talks directly to Triple H, and he always has. And so I think that's probably why he's doing the DVD. A lot of people would think that Undertaker would be closer to Shawn Michaels, when in fact I think it's like, he's much closer to Triple H than we know, because of the respect factor between the two and the professionalism maybe between the two, where the professionalism and the respect, there's a gray line there with him and Shawn Michaels. Although I know the Undertaker does in fact respect Shawn. And I know that Shawn Michaels really, respects The Undertaker. And,
well, if you don't respect The Undertaker, then you have to cut your ties with the WWE.
Right. And you don't let him end your career.
Right.
And I think that's also a kind of like a Shawn, like how much he respects The Undertaker and all that type of stuff. But also saying, trying to give back to The Undertaker, who he probably spit in the face of several times back in the late 90s, early mid-90s, whatever. That's it, guys. I think we're done. We'll see what happens. We'll see you guys after Monday Night Raw goes off the air this week. We won't have any problems because YouTube is not going to go under site maintenance that I know of. So as long as that doesn't happen again, we'll be live after Monday Night Raw as soon as it goes off the air, 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Tweet me at Joe Cronin Show. Follow me at Joe Cronin Show. Send your voicemails, 339-226-6610. And guys, if you love the show and you like the commercials that happen on these YouTube videos, watch the whole things, because if you watch the whole video, then I get paid. And if you love the products, then you can click. There you go. That's what happens. I'm not telling you to do it, but hey, if you like it, do it.
If you hate the product, you can click too. Whatever. What do you want to do?
Or you can just whatever you want to do. You can. I know. My favorite commercial that happens on these is like the lingerie ones. Like out of nowhere, it's like, and it's like some sexy girl taking off her bra, and I'm like, damn, like, oh. If every commercial was like that, I might watch them all. The only thing is, I'm just not going to buy a bra. That's the only problem. Like the beer commercial I skip, but then the bra commercial I watch the whole thing, but I'm never gonna. So it's a fucked up way that it works. I don't understand. By the way, I'm looking at pictures of your wife that she's posting on Facebook. Whoa.
My wife?
Yeah, Colleen's changed her profile image or posted a picture of herself or something.
How'd you go from lingerie and bras to my wife posting pictures on Facebook? What's she posting?
I don't know. No, she posted like a new picture or profile thing or something, and I just saw her. Yeah, it's a new profile picture. She changed her profile, so then it sticks that big ass picture on your timelines of everybody.
Yeah.
So anyway, there she is.
All right. It's my anniversary today. Actually.
Right, happy anniversary.
Thank you. 4 years.
And no kids.
No kids.
My girlfriend's in hiding because she's 4 months pregnant. So she she posts. It's funny. Your wife posts pictures. Mine's hiding under a blanket somewhere, like feeling horrible. But
she's having a kid. Why is she feeling horrible?
Because she's having a kid. She's getting fatter. She's feeling crampy. Everything's, stretching out everywhere, all over the place. You know what though?
Yeah, it's just temporary.
After it is really, some people it's not, but actually I was surprised after we had our son. Like she was, she went right back to how she was almost. She was a little bit heavier, but then after
snapped back like a rubber band.
Right, and then after like another few months, she went back to being really skinny. And I was like, how the hell did this happen? Like, there's no stretch marks, there's no signs of anything, and nothing feels any different.
Yeah, so she's fine.
Right. So the second time should be all right, I think. But this time it's a girl, so she's like under way worse conditions. It just proves the point that, girls are bitches. You have a boy, everything's all right. You have a girl, and your insides are exploding. And everybody always says girls are harder. It's a girl when you have a tough pregnancy. So, hey, whatever. I don't know. The hormones. Guys, thanks for listening to State of the WWE, episode number 7, I hope. Because if it's not, then I just screwed that whole thing up. And we lost count, and we'll never get it back. And thanks to Chris Tosevich for being here with me, and for being on me.
Anytime.
I'm really starting to freak out about what state. Yeah, this is number 7. This is State of the WWE episode 7. I had it right the whole time. How about that? We'll see you live after Monday Night Raw on my channel. Subscribe, and I'm really leaving this time, guys. Bye-bye.